This episode of the SlooPcast is brought to you by the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company is an Ohio-based company where they say our seasoning will take your barbecue from good to great. Mad Canadian will be back at the OLC Shrine Cafeteria next Thursday in Cary, Ohio from 4 to 7 o'clock for some barbecue and bingo. Again, next Thursday, OLC Shrine Cafeteria for some more of that delicious barbecue and fun bingo. Be sure to check out his social media, Facebook and Twitter, for more information about him and his food truck and where he'll be heading to next. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, who are the official barbecue of the Cary High School Blue Devils.
This episode of the SlooPcast is also brought to you by the Iron Bean Coffee Company. The Iron Bean Coffee Company is an Ohio-based coffee roaster. All over the beans are fair trade certified and USDA organic. I forgot the A. USDA organic, which means your beans are of both the best quality possible from a flavor standpoint, but also the best quality possible from a moral standpoint, making sure that all of the farmers and everyone through the entire supply chain are treated fairly, including you, the customer, by ensuring you're getting the freshest possible coffee. Free shipping over $50, gift cards available, subscribe and save is available. Once again, you're supporting a veteran-owned, Marine-owned company based on integrity. You're putting your money into a good place. So you can find your new favorite coffee over at ironbeancoffee.com. That is Iron Bean Coffee, America's local coffee roaster. What is up, YouTube? I would say what's up, Discord, but we are recording this very, very late at night. And I think our live chat is empty. Kyle's on the road still. So we're recording this one pretty late. So, and that's also why his voice is substandard at the moment.
Yeah.
That headset mic isn't as good as your studio mic, is it, Kyle?
No, it's not. So let's go ahead and jump right into it for some weekend preview.
Absolutely. We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the SlooPcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
To be honest, Jared, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. On the road all this week for real life work. But hey, I'm willing to take some of this time here and get ready for some great college football this weekend.
Kyle, the pressing question that we all need answered right away. On the Monday episode, will you have your actual studio microphone back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I will.
Okay. That headphone microphone, man. But we'll be back on the good equipment starting Monday. So bear with us while Kyle has to do the real life work to supplement this fun habit. I was saying habit, which I don't know is wrong. Hobby that we do here. So yeah, let's get right into it. Kyle, we're picking 7 games against the spread. We already picked the Ohio State game. Our guest picker this week, our homie Suncard19. You can follow him on Twitter, Suncard19. He picked Kyle. He did get if you joined us on the Thursday episode, he didn't get a final score to us. But so he has corrected that. He has gotten a final score to us. He has Ohio State winning 44-17. That is 44-17. All right. So if you want to hear Kyle and I's thoughts on the Ohio State versus Michigan State game, go and listen to that Thursday episode. But to quick summarize, I picked Ohio State to win and cover. Suncard has picked Ohio State to win and cover. Kyle?
I hope I'm wrong.
You did pick Ohio State to win. Wrong. You did pick them to win.
I did.
But not to cover.
Correct, yes.
All right, Kyle,
let's go ahead.
Yeah, first game on the docket here. Ohio State. I already said Ohio State. Kyle, it's late for both of us, my man. It is late for both of us. We have Wake Forest versus Clemson, a game in which Clemson gets to play the Disruptor. Clemson gets to play
Yeah, not something we're quite used to though. But Clemson just having a down year here. But man, like Clemson's playing better these past few weeks here, so I can't blame Vegas for picking Clemson to be favorites here. But Wake Forest offense, though, it's hard to stop Wake Forest. Granted, the teams they played though, but still, it's a great offense compared to the national scope here. And for me, Jared, I I think that might be enough to beat Clemson here. We saw throughout the year Clemson struggling to move the ball, score points, and Wake Forest the quite opposite, able to score points on a limb here. So I'll take Wake Forest in here. If you're giving 3.5 here, yeah, I'll take the Demon Deacons.
I'm gonna go with Clemson here. I think they're looking to salvage their season. I think they're trying to, at least from a perception standpoint, salvage their season. You know, they had a horrible start to the year, but they've been on a winning streak since losing to Pitt about a month ago. You know, they not that Florida State, Louisville, or UConn are all that good, and not that they won any of those games outside of the UConn game, and it was UConn, right? Not, won any of those games impressively, but I think they can win this game. But I do think it's close. I think that 3.5 is a really good number. Um, I think they win this. I think Clemson wins this game. I think it's last second, but is probably, I would say, I say they win by about 6 points, 6 or 7 points. That's my call for Clemson.
Okay. All right. Well, I think Clemson is going to have to score a lot of points, so maybe we'll see another shootout like Wake Forest did against UNC here.
We officially have a Sloop Cat in the chat, even at this late hour. Austin has joined us. Suncard picks Wake Forest. He says, "Let's kick Clemson while they are down."
Smart man. Smart man. All right. So next up here, Jared, we have Iowa State taking on
Austin,
Oklahoma.
I dropped the chimichanga tweet. Or not tweet, the Discord message. I dropped the chimichanga Discord message, my man. Turn your alerts on.
All right, next up here, Oklahoma taking on Iowa State. Noon game also on Fox. Oklahoma is a 4.5-point favorite. I tell you, this is the type of game I feel that the Cyclones want to be. I feel like this is the makings for the Cyclones to really upset Oklahoma here. I really do. I mean, we've seen how this Oklahoma like they've been throughout this season, and I like the Cyclones here. 4.5 points. Yeah, I would take the Cyclones here actually.
Oddly enough, I am too. And to me, this is a pick the underdog situation. I think this game feels very, in my mind, it feels very 50-50. Maybe a slight edge to Oklahoma as far as winning the game, maybe more of a 60-40, but 4.5 points, which, as we've talked about a bunch, there's a big difference between 4.5 and 2.5. Maybe if it was 2.5, I'd take Oklahoma at 4.5. I think I'm going to go with Iowa State. It gives me enough of a buffer that should they lose by a field goal, I feel good. I feel good about taking Iowa State at 4.5 points here, especially considering I think they have a really good chance of winning this game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you're giving more than a field goal. Yeah, I agree. What does Suncard say?
Suncard says Oklahoma. He says if this game was being played in Iowa, ... Which is a good point. That's, Ames is a place where seasons go to die historically on many occasions. They're kind of the Purdue of the Big 12. But that's not the case. This is being played in Oklahoma, so.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Next up here, Jared, we have Virginia taking on Pittsburgh. 3:30 kickoff time here. Pittsburgh is a 13.5 point favorite. I'm going to stick with how I've always felt about Pittsburgh, and I might have been wrong most of the time, but I'm still going to stick to it. Still going to stick to it here. I'll pick Virginia to cover here. I'll pick Virginia to cover. Just my gut feeling. I don't really have a rhyme or reason. I'm just going to go with Virginia.
I think that's a good call. And not because I think Virginia has a chance to win this game, because I don't think they have a great chance of winning this game. I just think that 13.5 is a little bit big for me. That's really it.
Mhm.
13.5 just feels a little big.
Yeah,
let's take Duke as an example. Pitt played Duke just a couple weeks ago, and they won that game by 15 points. And while I don't think Virginia is good, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like, hey, Virginia's actually really good. They are better than Duke, right? I think they're more than a couple points better than Duke. They're not very bad, Zach. I know you, Austin. I said the opposite. I said the opposite of that. Is Virginia's they're a team. What do you want me to say? They're a middle of the road ACC team in a year in which the ACC is basically all middle of the road. No, none of that, guys. None of that, guys. But my point is that it's just 13. I would be more comfortable at about 9.5. I think 9.5 would be about where I would have to take Pitt at here to feel comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, Austin brings up a good point. It's still not going to sway me from changing my picks here, but when in doubt, take the quarterback. And Pickett's been having a great year, as Austin says here in the chat here. But I'm going to stick with Virginia. I'll stick with Virginia. I'm not changing it. I'm not cheating here or anything. So I'm still sticking with Virginia.
Are you insinuating that I'm cheating?
No, Jared, never.
All right.
Never. All right.
Here's the thing. This is not like anti Kenny Pickett. I've been Kenny Pickett bandwagon for a while now. It has more to do with Pitt's defense, I think. I think this game realistically ends up being like 42-32. I feel like is approximately where this game lands. That's still a good win for Pitt. It's still a comfortable win for Pitt, but it doesn't cover 13.5 points. Austin, I'm tired of your crap. I don't know why y'all always got to be Team Kyle down there. I don't know. I don't know what all of that's about.
All right. Let's move on to the next game here.
No, you forgot about Sun Card. You forgot about Sun Card.
Yes. I'm sorry. Sorry about our homie Sun Card. Apologize. What does Sun Card say?
He says Jared likes the Steelers, and that's the only reason he's picking Pitt.
What a guy.
What a guy. We're getting some Sun Card love in the chat. I'm not reading that one, Austin.
All right. Let's get on to our next game here. Arkansas taking on Alabama. 3:30. Of course, this is on CBS here. Alabama is a 20.5 point favorite. This isn't the same Alabama that we're used to in previous years, and especially last year. 20.5 just seems it's just too much. It's just too much for me. This is almost how I felt about the Ohio State and Nebraska game, where it's just like, could they score more? Could they win by more than that? Yeah, but it's way too much for me. I think this is going to be more of like a 13-point victory by Alabama, something like that. 20.5 is just too much for me. So I'll take the Razorbacks here. I'll take the Pigs.
The Hogs, you could say. Here's my thing.
Hogs, you could say.
You could say that. This is not
Look
the
what
best.
You started.
This is not the best Alabama team we've seen over the past decade. They're by Alabama standards subpar. Now that being said, Alabama standards are still insanely high. It's still insanely high. And I think Arkansas is one of the most fake good teams we've had all year. I don't know why. Yes, I do. It's SEC. I don't know why we keep thinking this is a good team. They're not. They lost to Ole Miss, who is They lost to Auburn, has no business, also no business being ranked all year. They didn't score a single point against Georgia. They only scored 10 points against Texas A&M. I don't know why they went to overtime against a terrible LSU team.
Yeah.
This isn't me trying to pump up Alabama as much as this is me saying, why the hell is Arkansas even ranked? I don't get it. So yeah, I'll take Bama even at 20 points. I think they win this by as many points as they feel like winning it by. That's
Okay.
it's this Auburn gets to pick, or excuse me, Alabama gets to pick their score here.
Austin asks, what's the percentage chance of Alabama losing the game that night?
Of Arkansas pulling the upset? Oh man, 10%?
I was going to say like 15.
No, I
Let's
feel
say
like
15%.
10's generous. Honestly, I feel like I'm being really generous to Arkansas when I say 10.
Okay.
I feel like that's
All right,
insanely generous. It is in Alabama.
mm-hmm.
Kyle, is it time for an ad read?
Yeah, it is time for an ad read. So let's go and hear it, Jared, from our good friends over at the Iron Bean Coffee Company.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about the Iron Bean Coffee Company. Told you already, this is a Marine-owned company, a veteran-owned company. All of their beans fair trade certified, USDA organic. They're based out of Perrysburg, Ohio, which is near Toledo. Christmas is just around the corner. You want to give maybe a loved one the gift that keeps on giving? Do you know the exact type of coffee maybe that they like? Well, then you can sign them up for a subscribe and save service that keeps them in the coffee business for 12 months. You save a couple bucks a bag by buying it in the subscribe and save service. So you're setting up your loved one with fresh roasted, fresh ground. If you choose to have it ground, you can get it whole bean or ground, and you can set up your loved one all year with fresh coffee all year. I'm going to say it again. I already said it like 3 times during this ad read. I'm going to say it one more time. It's the gift that keeps on giving, right? Every month they go and they open up a new present from you, from Iron Bean Coffee Company, but from you every single week. Think about how awesome that would be. Set up your loved one with a subscribe and save service, but maybe you don't know what kind of coffee they like. Maybe they're real particular about their coffee. Well, Iron Bean offers you gift cards. That's right, they offer you some gift cards. You can buy them instead a gift card, maybe that would cover that cost of the coffee all year round. And then say, hey, go pick your own damn coffee, you picky bastard. And that's what you can do over at ironbeancoffee.com. That is Iron Bean Coffee, America's local coffee roaster.
This episode is also brought to you by our good friends over at the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. Mentioned earlier that they will be at the OLC Shrine Cafeteria next Thursday, 4 to 7 for some barbecue and bingo. Well, let's hear from some testimonies who've had some of that delicious barbecue from the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. We got one here saying that they had the brisket sandwich with the barbecue sauce and was the best they've ever had. Brisket was hot and juicy. Barbecue sauce was sweet, but not too sweet. And the portions was no other. Very generous, like his beard. And oh my, it was amazing. Said their significant other had ribs and they loved it too. Good potato salad and baked beans. You get the picture. Great food that the Mad Canadian has to offer. So put away your dinner plans. Head on over to the OLC Shrine Cafeteria next Thursday, 4 to 7. for some barbecue and bingo. And be sure to hit up his social media for more information about him and his food truck and where he'll be heading to next. McKinney Barbecue Company, who are the official barbecue of the Cary High School Blue Devils.
Austin's going nuts down in the chat there, and I appreciate it. Austin said, by the way, that he got some of the Bananas Foster from Iron Bean Coffee Company, and he says it is, quote, the best coffee I have ever had. So there you guys go.
Best coffee, best barbecue. Can't go wrong with either. All right, Jared, let's move on here.
Let's move on
here.
We have a quick question from Buckeye Zach asking, what is the best dark roasted delight for the Yuletide? If you're looking for a dark roast that is, if you a flavored coffee, it's not going to be dark roast. They have the white chocolate peppermint. So if you're looking for something Christmassy, that's their Christmas flavor. But if you're looking for something dark, that is maybe a bit Christmassy, I'd go with the Drink from the Skull of Your Enemy. It's creamy, chocolatey, notes of cedar, tobacco, wine, and spice. I think is going to be your Christmas roast. All right, Kyle, we have a couple more games to do. Let's do those.
Absolutely. So next up here,
something like that, Austin.
Pac-12, almost Pac-12 After Dark here, but we got Oregon taking on the Utah Utes. 7:30 kickoff. And interesting here, Jared, the Utah is a 3.5 point favorite in this game.
That is right. Oregon, the number 2 team in the country, allegedly, is a 3.5 point dog to Utah, barely ranked number 23 in the country, 3-loss Utah. Why? Excuse me, number 3 in the country. I keep forgetting they have Bama falsely ranked as number 2. I don't like the committee. I don't like the committee. I don't like their rankings. They're number 2 in the SlooPcast rankings, Austin, and really those are the rankings that matter here. So, Kyle, I have a good explanation for you as to why Oregon, number 3 team in the country, or number 2 according to the SlooPcast rankings, why they are ranked number 3 in the committee, but they are a 3.5 point dog to 3-loss Utah. I have a theory.
It's a night game in Utah.
No,
and that's where the Herd Street Special is at.
No.
Okay.
The Pac-12 sucks.
There it is. All right, tell me more, Jared.
Oregon did just lose a wide receiver to the transfer portal. I don't know if that's necessarily playing into this game a lot, but it is a thing that just happened. Utah struggled early, has been on a bit of a streak as of late. They completely embarrassed Stanford, a team that Oregon lost to. Granted, that was a while ago for Oregon. Oregon has maybe not been winning overly impressively lately. If you look at some of their recent wins, Washington State, a bad team, I believe they were tied going into halftime, and then they end up winning the game by 14 points, which is fine. They only win by 10 points over a Washington team that lost to an FCS school this year. Played a close game against California and UCLA. They did demolish Colorado after those games. And the Stanford loss before that, like, it's just not, I don't know. They keep winning, and you have to give them credit for keep winning, but they keep winning over a really very bad Pac-12 conference. And I just feel like maybe Utah's it. Maybe this is it. That being said, I'm going to pick the underdog. I just like, this is a go with the underdog sort of game for me. So if you're going to give me 3.5 points to pick the number 3 team in the country, I'm going to take that. Like it's just silly not to, right? Um, so I am going to pick Oregon here, but
Yep. And
Utah has a great chance to win, but they have to win and cover. But Utah, I think pulls the upset here.
yeah, I got Oregon to cover here. I'm just going to go with the better team in this instance here. Uh, I think Austin brought up a good point here. Can Oregon beat Utah twice? And yes, that can easily be the case here, where Utah wins their division and can play Oregon again. So yeah, that'll be really interesting if Oregon would win here, and maybe Utah could pull up the upset in the Pac-12 championship. Yeah, that'd be
Worth
it's hard to do. It's really hard to do.
Worth noting that this game is in Utah, it being played in Salt
Mhm.
Lake City, and that this is in college football. The home field advantage is typically worth about 3.5 points. So I
Yeah,
think what
it's
Vegas
true.
is telling us here is that this game on a neutral site would potentially be a pick 'em, might be a half point swing in one direction or the other. I think it's a game Utah can win. I think it's a game Utah can win easily. Um, if this were a pick 'em, if this were a half point in one direction or the other, I would pick Utah. But
Yeah,
I'm not going to walk away from a 3.5 point buffer if Vegas is going to offer it to me.
yeah. Hey, we totally missed Suncard picking the other game here, Alabama and Arkansas.
Oops.
So why don't you read that one? Why don't you read that one as well as the Oregon and Utah?
He picks Arkansas in Bama versus Arkansas to cover. He says every team in the SEC is a world beater because hey, it just means more, right? I'm pretty Sun Card. I got that tone correct, right? Like I nailed the tone on that one. I think I did. And then Oregon, he picked Oregon versus Utah. He picks Oregon. Oregon stays alive for another week.
All right, awesome. All right, going back to my notes here real quick. Sorry about that. Here we go. So the next game we have here, Jared, is Oklahoma State taking on Texas Tech. We're kind of running out of games to pick here, Jared. If you're picking Oklahoma State and Texas Tech here,
Yeah.
this is a late
Yeah.
game here, 8 o'clock, where the Cowboys are a 10.5 point favorite.
Kyle, um, you said you've been kind of who did you say you kept missing on picks because you weren't believing, but they kept getting you? Did you say it was Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Yeah. For me this year, that team's been Oklahoma State. I've kept doubting them. I've kept not believing in them, and they've kept biting me on the SlooPicks over and over and over again. What makes this easy is that Texas Tech is legitimately just like very bad. I think they're very, very bad. They play basically no defense. Um, they're giving up 400 yards a game. Uh, Oklahoma State, on the other hand, probably has the best defense in the Big 12. That's been keeping them in a lot of games this year. That defense ultimately is, yes, Austin, best defense in the Big 12's a low bar.
Well, to be
Granted,
fair too, like the most they've ever given up in a game here, and I'm looking at
yeah,
their stats here, the most points, and this might surprise a lot of people, is 24 points. That's the most they've ever given up so far this year. Is 24 points.
right. And meanwhile, Texas Tech gave up 38 points to Iowa State just last week. They gave up 52 points to TCU just last week, a team that Oklahoma State held to 17 points just last week. No, the TCU Texas Tech game was like 5 games ago for Texas Tech, but um, yeah, I'm picking Oklahoma State to win this, and I pick them to win it by more than 10 points. Not a lot more than 10 points. I see this as like a 36-20 game, maybe about 36-20. So it's not a comfortable win and cover, but I think it's a win and cover.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll win by like 2 touchdowns here. I think Texas Tech will make it interesting to a degree, but Oklahoma State more than 2 scores, more than 10 points. Yeah, I'll take the Cowboys in orange here to cover.
Austin, what the hell are you
And
talking about? I don't have any yellow on my shirt. Are you calling me a coward?
And Suncard here has Oklahoma State as his pick and says he has no faith in Texas Tech, and it's true too.
Yeah, it's totally fair, and ultimately kind of what I said. I mean, to be fair.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Kyle, you said we were running out of games to pick, and you weren't wrong. That's our last game. Hey Austin, since you've been holding down the chat for us on this late night recording, you got okay. Yeah, he wants everyone to know he's Team Kyle. You want me to play Vapors again? I just played them. You want me to do it again? Okay. All right. You know what, Austin? That's not even the question I was going to ask you, but I'll do it. I'll still do it for you.
Well,
I was going to ask if you have any. I was going to ask if you had any like last second Ask SlooPcast questions that you maybe wanted to throw our way. You can go playoffs. You can go anything national scope.
Well, I was going to also, while he's writing this up here, is there any other upsets that you can see in this week here, Jared? If you're looking at the schedule for this week, do you see any other kind of upsets that could happen here?
I mean, depending upon what you mean by upset, right? Because technically, if you ask Vegas, Utah beating Oregon is not an upset. But per the polls,
let's go by the polls here.
Okay, I think the absolute first game you have to look at, especially from a significance standpoint, a team that's currently in the playoffs losing, it would have to be Utah beating Oregon. I think that is your best chaos opportunity of the week by far. That's your chaos opportunity of the week. And quite frankly, Ohio State. Like, I know we don't want to talk about it, and I don't think it's going to happen. I picked Ohio State to win by 20 points in the Thursday episode. I picked them to win and cover, and it's not even it's number 7 versus number 4, right? But I think Michigan State's a real terrible number 7, if I'm being honest with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Austin says, if a team falls, it is likely to be OSU. Now, it's still Oregon. Oregon, to me, is still the number 1 fall potential. Mm-hmm. Absolutely number 1. I mean, you can disagree with me if you want to disagree with me, Austin, but Michigan State is much better than Utah. Well, Ohio State is much better than Oregon. And don't even start with the game that happened 2 months ago to try and tell me I'm wrong.
Well, here's some other interesting ones. I'm just gonna throw out here, Jared.
You can disagree with me if you want to disagree with me, Austin. I'm just saying, ask Vegas. You can disagree with me if you want to, but ask Vegas what they think. Ohio State's favored by 20 in one of the games. Oregon is dogged by 3.5 in the other one. Ask Vegas. I don't care what Joel Klatt says.
All right, let me ask you this one, Jared. Nebraska over Wisconsin?
It's possible. Yeah, I think that's great.
Man, why didn't you do that one, Jared? I thought that would have been a great pick game here. And this would be a bonus one here for me. Wisconsin's favored by 9 points. I'm going to take Nebraska. I'll take Nebraska in that one. Heck, I'm almost tempted to say that Nebraska would win this outright.
To be honest with you guys, the reason I didn't pick that one is because I needed a second game for the primetime slot. That I
gotcha.
try and
All
space
right.
them out. I try and
So,
space them out.
all right. So I got Austin here. What player will be punished out of the Heisman conversation this week due to a bad performance? With everything being so touch and go with the front runners, bad week here knocks you out. I don't even know who the front runners are, to be honest.
Um, I think potentially Walker. I don't think he has a great game against Ohio State. Um, yeah. So I think maybe that's where I would go. Um, Walker, I barely know her. Uh, I think that's where I go. And I don't even think it's his fault, to be honest with you. I don't think it's Kenneth Walker's fault. I think Michigan State gets behind early. I think it's behind. I think Michigan State just gets behind early, and they just don't. They move away from the game plan that features running Kenneth Walker as much as he would need to have a great game.
Hmm. Yeah.
Any chance the Razorbacks give Young trouble? Yeah, the chance exists. To me, I would be more aware of that happening next week and the week after than I would be Arkansas. I think Alabama. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm convinced Alabama loses to Georgia. I'm convinced of it at this point.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's for this week. I think it's
I know,
Kenneth
hot take,
Walker.
Austin.
I think it's Kenneth Walker who will take the biggest plunge here because I mean, one, the running back. This is pretty much
Right.
almost solely. This is almost solely a quarterback um, trophy here. But looking at other names here, maybe it's Caleb Williams finally getting out of that conversation here. Shouldn't have been in here to begin with.
Yeah, I think he literally got benched last week. I think his Heisman disaster was last week.
Yeah.
Austin says that Nebraska might be the best 3 to 4 win team in college football history. I said the same thing on Twitter just today, Austin. I actually said the exact same thing on Twitter today.
Yep.
They're like, if you go look at their team stats, like where they rank in the country, pass offense, pass defense, run offense, run defense. Yeah, they're Nebraska is an amazing football team under the scope that they've only won three games so far. With that in consideration, yeah, they could be 7-3. They really could. Ohio State is still, to this date, Ohio State is their worst loss. It is their only loss to a team by more than a score, and it's 9 points. All of their losses except Ohio State could have been tied at the end with a single score. Well, a single score plus a 2-point, it's a touchdown plus a 2-point conversion. You know what I'm saying? No, exactly. They literally have not lost by double digits. Exactly.
Yep. And that's why I said, like in this game here, where Wisconsin was favored by 9. Yeah, exactly that reason right there, Jared.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Bonus sloop pick. Kyle and I'll even include Suncard on this too. Kyle and I both pick Nebraska to at least cover against Wisconsin. Yep. And you know what? Austin joined us in on that as well.
Yes. All right, Jared. I think that's all the news
pickers. We have 2 guest pickers next week for reasons I'll explain next week on the Friday show. So, Kyle, I think that's it. That's it. We're gonna do for the show tonight. We are both very tired and are gonna go to bed. Do you have any? I'm not Discord. We have a Discord server. Join it or you're lame. There, that's my thing. Kyle, do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
A little bit of basketball news here. Ohio State suffered their first loss tonight as we're recording here. They lost to Xavier 71-65. It's just a struggling Ohio State team in so far early on here, and I'm just man, like especially that first game, I feel like this might be a long season for the Buckeyes here. I hope I'm wrong here, but but man, there's you got to get somebody else other than EJ Liddell to be your scorer here.
Yeah, for a team that is very veteran, they're also very young. Um, two of their veterans are new to the team. Um, it's Austin says Kyle Young needs to be more involved in the offense. I think he made some good plays tonight. I think Ohio State needs to learn to play together as a unit, and I think despite some mistakes down the line, despite some mistakes down the line, I think Michi made some strides in his development for what is us tonight. So the young guys have to sort of come into the game. They need to adapt to the game. They need some experience. I think Michi will probably be that second scorer that you're looking for, Austin. I think he has loads of potential, but I also think he's mistake prone because of course he is. He's not very experienced.
Yeah.
He made a couple
I
key
mean,
mistakes at the end of the game that proved incredibly costly. He says, "I wish Arns was consistent. I wish he could play defense. That's what I
yeah.
wish."
And the Buckeyes are they're hurting right now with suing possibly all year. We'll see, but you may have suing out the rest of the year. Seth Towns is still recovering, and Kyle Young just isn't himself right now too. So it's a very injured team right now.
They have the depth to. Yeah, I'm not going to give them that. I think Kyle Young is fine. I think he had a fairly good game. I think Kyle Young had a fairly good game, and I think the team has depth. I don't want to give him that out, Kyle. Maybe I'm just not as nice as you, but I don't feel like giving them that out.
All right, no worries. No worries.
Right.
That's all I have, Jared.
All right. By Austin's request, we're gonna play Playing to Vapors for the second straight night. Cause hey, why not, right? Why not? So we're doing that. I don't know which song I'm playing yet because I was planning on playing a different song tonight, but Austin was carrying our live chat at this late hour. So he said, "Hey, play this band," and I'm like, "Okay." So that's what we're doing. We're playing to Vapors for the second straight night. And with all of that being said, I'd like to. Oh, you want me to play Whisper? All right, we're doing song request. We're now Austin. You're lucky I like it. No, I'm just kidding. Jared GJ. It doesn't work. It was a nice try, Austin. It doesn't work. So yeah, this is Whisper by Playing to Vapors. So with all of that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Whispers by Playing to Vapors.